Hello, and welcome to this week's College Planning Tip of the Week. I'm Nancy Steenson with Steenson College Coaching, and with me today is Jack Wang. Jack, I have a question for you about deadlines. I work with my students on deadlines regarding the Common App or individual college applications. Can you tell me a little bit about financial aid deadlines?
Yeah, great question, Nancy. Thanks for asking. The college application process can be so stressful for students and families alike, as you know, and people and students especially worry about, oh, this is due then for an early action deadline or for a regular decision deadline or whatever. And people often ask, well, what about financial aid? What about the FAFSA and or the CSS profile? So I just want to kind of dispel a few myths. Oftentimes people refer to the October 1 date. That is not a deadline. I just want to be clear, it is not a deadline. The October 1st date is when those applications open, okay, when you can start filling them out, right? However, the actual financial aid deadline will vary by school and will vary oftentimes by your admission cycle, whether you're early decision, early action, or regular decision. So as your son or daughter is taking a look at the various schools and to see what their application deadline is or admissions deadline, right? Take a moment and have them look at when the financial aid deadline is, because sometimes you don't have to rush. You don't want to miss the deadline, certainly, but you don't necessarily have to get it in the same day, or you don't necessarily have to worry about getting your financial aid information in October 2nd, let's say. Again, take a look at the school's website. You're looking for financial aid deadlines, which is different than admissions deadlines. There's some schools, for example, that will have early action deadlines as early as November 1st for admissions, but the financial aid deadline isn't until March 1st. There's a number of schools I've worked with pretty commonly which are like that. So just take a look and make sure you know what the dates are. That's number one. Number two, you can also prepare. People will, as much as students stress about getting letters of recommendations or their essays done or their transcripts in or their test scores submitted, where the case may be, for parents stress on, well, what do I need to fill out these forms? In particular with the FAFSA, you can go onto the federal student aid website and go into the FAFSA section, and actually there's a link that actually gives you a preview of the questions on the FAFSA. So you can actually see what the questions are in advance and what information you'll need. Unfortunately for the CSS profile, you can't do that. What I can say is the majority of the questions on the CSS profile are very, very similar to the FAFSA. So the information you're going to need for the FAFSA is pretty much what you're going to need for the profile form. But the profile form asks a lot more, and it's sometimes hard to predict because schools are allowed to ask customized questions on the profile form that quite frankly, you just can't prepare for, and they change every year. So in the past, clients have been asked about what kind of cars they drive, do they have any foreign trusts, do they have any foreign real estate, what church they go to, and when their kid was baptized. I mean, it just runs the gamut, okay? But the FAFSA information is a good starting point. So it's a good way to start. So I would tell parents, take a deep breath, find out what the financial aid deadlines are, take a look at the FAFSA preview so you can get a sense of what information you'll need, and then you can worry about filling it out. But it's a stressful enough time. Relax.
That's great, Jack. Thanks so much. And thank you everyone for joining us for this week's College Planning Tip of the Week. We'll see you next week.